What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you guys through my final team selection for the current FPL season. So yes, Game Week 38 is shortly upon us. Just remember, all kickoffs are going to be on Sunday afternoon my time, but that might differ where you guys are around the world. So the final video and the final team selection of this season, I just want to give you guys a short shout out. Thanks to all of you that have supported my videos throughout the season. Thanks to all of you members, you absolute legends. And don't worry, I'll be seeing you guys shortly for the next season. But if you guys are interested in this video, I'm going to go over a quick review of double Game Week 37, see how the team is getting along with one game left to play tonight. I'll then turn the attention to Game Week 38, see how the team is currently dealing and what differential transfers we can make with only one free transfer. So that's something you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So going over a quick review of double Game Week 37, there have been some more fixtures that have occurred since the transfer plan I recorded a few days ago, so I'll post those updates. But on the bottom right hand side, you guys can see that the green arrow is still relevant, but currently sitting at 99k, so just within that top 100k, so hopefully we do stay there after tonight. But the current total is 56 points, and we have one free transfer and 1.0 million on the dot in the bank. So let me know how your guys' game week is currently going, where you're sitting in the overall ranks. If you guys are watching this tomorrow, which is going to be Friday, you guys can get the final Game Week 37 rank. So what rank do you guys want to attain after Game Week 38? But let's go back to the actual team, and I'm going to start off on our bench as usual. We've got Kepa with 2 points and still has a game tonight. But then we've got the double up of Trippier and Botman, the Newcastle defensive double up, who got a clean sheet and both got bonus points. So quite a disaster there when you guys do see my kind of defensive situation. I really do need those kind of Trippier and Botman points, but that's not going to be the case as I don't expect them to come off the bench. Then we have Greenwood with only 1 point as predicted, but the only player that's going to come off our bench is going to be Kepa as we started Edison. So you guys can see 0/0, so he didn't play any minutes in Game Week 37, which is quite surprising. And does that mean that he's actually been dropped from the Man City lineup? Well, I guess we'll see in Game Week 38, but at the current moment, I want to focus on Kepa, and let's hope for some save points, but not a clean sheet, as I do own quite a few United attackers. So Kepa will come on for a minimum of 2 points. Let's hope he doesn't get minus points tonight, but I guess that could be the case. Now let's go into the defensive department, and we've got a Stupinan with a kind of double of 2-point appearances, so only the appearance points, unfortunately, for a Stupinan take him to a total of 4. So playing Trippier or playing Botman would have been better than the double game week player, which is quite disappointing to be honest. But I guess Brighton did have some tough games in this double game week. However, they did have the first game against Southampton, where I thought the clean sheet would come. But the big thing about a Stupinan is that he was still getting loads of attacking threat, but unfortunately no attacking returns. We then have Luke Shaw at left back now that we do have kind of Lindelof and Varane back for United. Much better at that left back slot, still racking up the bonus points as in the first game, a clean sheet and also 3 bonus. Now here's the game tonight against Chelsea, is a home game, expect United to do quite well here, do expect Luke Shaw to start, and at left back, he could always get an attacking return. Then our last defender, the kind of disappointment, Trent with only 1 point, 8 points less than Trippier, who I was kind of in a debate of starting, but was always going to go for Trent at his new position. Still had a relatively fine game, but just didn't get any FPL points, so we'll have to stick with that 1 point. Heading into midfield department, the United double up of Bruno and Rashford still have the game tonight. Now if Rashford does miss out completely tonight, might not actually be the worst situation with Trippier first on our bench. But unfortunately I do expect Rashford to actually play tonight, so let's hope that he outperforms 9 points. Then in terms of Bruno, on 3 points at the current moment, if he does get another 3 points, he does match Erling Haaland. So I do think that if you guys did go for Bruno as your differential captain, you've probably won the game week, as any return is going to be net gained. So let's see how Bruno performs tonight. It's a little bit of a tougher game, but Chelsea aren't playing the best at the current moment, so I expect United to win here. Then next up, our second double up is going to be Mateo and McAllister, the Brighton double up. Now the first game was quite good, both got an assist, 5 points, but the second game last night against Man City, probably predicted, didn't go as well, with McAllister starting yet again on the bench. Now Matoma started the game, but his points dodging, I mentioned this over on Twitter, is absolutely insane. Got a goal ruled off for a handball, got an assist ruled out for offside. His XG and XA in both these 2 games was simply outstanding. So he's gone from overperforming to underperforming, which I wouldn't have predicted, and the Japanese international has been pretty disappointing. But I guess same can be said on McAllister. These Brighton mids haven't lived up to the hype, might have lived up to the price point, as they are quite cheap. But both these 2 players prove quite a dilemma in next week, as I don't even know if they're going to start. But lucky though, Mo Salah should start Game Week 38, started Game Week 37, got us an assist, 5 points. Not the biggest haul, but I guess it's points at the end of the day. So now I see that Mo Salah is ticking along nicely. He has actually had a very good FPL season and an overall Premier League season, so let's hope that he bangs in Game Week 38. And the final 2 options, both featured last night, my 2 Man City strikers. It's going to be Erling Haaland and then Alvarez. So let's go over Alvarez. Started the first game, got us a goal and a few bonus points, but unfortunately last night was benched, only got the 1 point appearance. Then in terms of early, Haaland was benched in the first game, came off for 1 point, but last night got an assist, but he should have had loads more. He had a lovely one-on-one in the first half, actually had another chance as well. His XG in the first kind of 30 minutes was I think 1.2, so definitely owed a goal in that one. So if you guys did not captain early Haaland, I think you might have got a little bit lucky, but you put yourself in that position by going differential. So overall guys, the 56 points is what's on screen right now. Still do have some players to come tonight. We've got Kepa unexpectedly coming off our bench. Then I got Bruno and also Rashford. Let me know how many players you guys have tonight and where you're currently sitting in the overall ranks. And as mentioned, what's your dream rank after Game Week 38? Now before we go over the transfer plan, I want to give you guys the current context of my Game Week 38 final team. I'm going to go player by player, tell you guys if I predicted they're going to start or not, and then we can kind of decide where the holes are. So let's start off on our bench. So the current moment, I think the bench might be quite important. We might have some heavy rotation with a lot of these starting 11s, and that's why your bench might be quite useful. So currently I've got Kepa on the bench, but he might come off for Edison. We all know that Edison versus Kepa, hopefully one of them starts. And I don't really understand the Edison benchings, to be honest. Now I actually do expect Edison to play against Brentford, as long as he will play in the Champions League final. If not, I think that the other goalkeepers might feature, as it just doesn't make sense to me why you're benching Edison in so many games. So he might have been dropped, he might have just been rested. I think this Brentford game will be quite integral. But between Kepa and Edison, don't really expect either of them to keep a clean sheet. It's an away game against Brentford for Edison, a home game against Chelsea, but it is against Newcastle. So let's hope that they get some save points. But in terms of Stupinan versus Aston Villa, I think Aston Villa are quite a high-flying squad, playing some good football even though they haven't scored that many in the past couple game weeks, and I just don't trust that Brighton defense. But Stupinan does get loads forward, so it might be an option in my starting 11, but if he does have to come off my bench, not the worst thing in the world. Then in terms of Botman, it's going to be Chelsea away. How many of the Newcastle players will actually feature now that Champions League has been secured? I think Botman should start, but don't you know the overall team structure? Then in terms of Greenwood, probably going to be benched against Spurs, so can't really trust him. So I guess Stupinan and Botman isn't the worst kind of bench coverage, but they don't have the best fixtures. But let's go on to our starting 11. Already spoke about Edison, so let's skip over to our defensive department. I'm currently starting Trippier against Chelsea away. Chelsea's XG is not that great at the current moment, so I think that Newcastle could keep a clean sheet. But as mentioned with Botman, will Trippier even start now that Champions League has been confirmed? I guess we will see if he does start. Great asset to go for defensive and attacking threat in this one. Then in terms of Luke Shaw, he's a really big kind of question mark. If United get any points tonight against Chelsea, Champions League is secured for them as well. So Luke Shaw might even be rested before that FA Cup game. So let's see what happens tonight against Chelsea. But in terms of Luke Shaw, not super confident of a start. But if he does, Fulham at home is a good fixture. Then let's go over Trent. I think that Trent will probably play. Liverpool don't have anything to play for, but Klopp is quite consistent with these lineups, and there's no kind of replacement for Trent at that position. Yes, Milner might play right back. There might actually be a situation that they look at, but I think Trent still should be fine against Southampton away. Good fixture on paper. I think that Liverpool will win this one, so I'm pretty confident with Trent. In terms of midfield department, we've got Bruno and Rashford. Rashford, in terms of his injury, don't exactly know if he's going to start tonight. If he does, pretty confident that he should get minutes against Fulham, and then Bruno basically plays every game. It's a great fixture on paper. Fulham aren't the best defensive side, and United are playing at home, which I think is integral. But now going to our next double up of Matoma and McAllister, Aston Villa away. It's a tough game on paper. Aston Villa have something to play for. They can secure European football next season, and that's why I think this might be quite a tough game for Brighton. Added to that, Brighton have anything to play for, secured that Europa League football last night, and therefore Matoma and McAllister could be rested. Now McAllister has been rested more than Matoma. I think there might be something behind the scenes there in terms of a transfer plan. So it's quite hard to predict out of these two who's going to be benched. But you guys let me in the comments down below, do you think Matoma or McAllister gets benched in Game Week 38 and why? Then we have Mo Salah against Southampton away, good fixture on paper. Expect Mo Salah to continue to start for Liverpool. As mentioned, Klopp's quite consistent with these lineups, and at that right wing position there's no kind of replacement. So Salah could even be a differential captain if you guys do want to go for it. As mentioned, I'm pretty sure he starts the fixture. Now, two front strikers are going to be the Man City assets. It's going to be Haaland and Alvarez. The best situation is probably both of them start. But if Haaland doesn't play, I'm expecting Alvarez to start up front, which is going to be pretty nice. So currently the Campsy is going to be on Haaland, but any team news or any suggestions that Haaland will be benched, I'll probably move the Campsy off him and might even transfer him out. So let's see what the early team news says. Hopefully we do get Man City team news, because that's quite integral to our transfer plan. But as you guys can see, the starting 11 does look good, but when you kind of go a little bit deeper, a lot of these options could actually be benched, could be taking a -4, a -8, depending on early team news, who kind of knows. But I would heavily suggest waiting till you make your transfers. But if you guys can see a move that you think I should make, comment it down below. Otherwise, let me know what your transfer plan is and what differentials you guys are targeting for Game Week 38. Now before we get on to the actual transfer plan, I want to go over the fixtures, because I think the fixtures for Game Week 38 are always integral to what teams to target. So I'm going to bring up all the fixtures on screen right now, straight from the FPL website, and you guys can see they all kick off at the exact same time. So that's why the team news could be absolutely insane. It's an hour and a half before kickoff, but early team news might be filtering through, so make sure that you guys are on FPL Twitter to get the latest news. Now, I'll be streaming, so don't worry, any news that we do get, I'll be going over in my deadline stream, so make sure that you guys don't miss this one. So let's go over the fixtures. Well, there's two scenarios of teams to target. The first one is obvious. It's teams that have something to play for, teams in the relegation battle in European football battles, and examples of that are going to be Aston Villa and Spurs fighting for that Conference League spot. Then we have the relegation battle with Everton, Leeds, and Leicester. Now, the second situation is going to be teams that have a home fixture. I generally think that teams at home want to put on a good show for their fans, a good goodbye for the season, a good thank you for the season. And that's why the teams on the left-hand side should be teams that should be okay for lineups. So, for example, Arsenal think that Arteta is going to be quite thankful for the fans. Didn't win the cup this season, but have had a good supportive season. And therefore, I think a pretty strong lineup is going to be had in this game. I guess the perfect combination is going for a team like Aston Villa, Everton, Leeds, or Leicester because they have something to play for and they play at home. So, Ollie Watkins could be a potential punt to look at. But other than that, I think the rotation will kind of filter through for most of these sides, so let's hope that we do get early team news. But comment down below, is there a team that I've missed out here? Is there a team that you think that you might be targeting? A team with something to play for? A team that might not have something to play for, but still will have a pretty good lineup? But let's go on to the actual transfer plan and let's go over some differentials that we might be targeting heading into that Game Week 38 deadline. Now, first of all, as mentioned early on, please wait till we get early team news because the last thing you want to do is bring in an asset, they get benched for Game Week 38, and then you're looking quite sad. So if we do get early team news about Erling Haaland, this is kind of a big one because he's so expensive. You can simply downgrade him to any other asset. Yes, there's a situation where he comes off the bench, gets a hattie, but I'd rather play the odds on expected minutes. So the obvious transfer if Haaland's going to be missing is going to be a player that is also quite expensive. It's going to be Harry Kane from Spurs. Now yes, Leeds do have something to play for. It's an away game for Spurs, but they also are fighting for that Conference League spot. And Harry Kane's been super consistent this FPL season. So if Haaland is benched, Harry Kane in might even be a campsy consideration if you don't like Salah. He's almost a no-brainer for me. But saying this, there are some other alternatives that you guys can look at. A Gabriel Jesus from Arsenal. We'll talk about him a little bit later on. But an Ollie Watkins from Aston Villa, still fighting for European football. A Bobby Firmino might be his last game for Liverpool if he does start. I might look at him. And there's actually quite a few other striking options, but those are kind of my favorite. But I do think if Erling Haaland does get benched, Harry Kane's the popular option and almost a no-brainer as mentioned. But let's say that Erling Haaland does start or we want to take a -4. Another alternative is one of the Brighton mids out. And I think this might be a popular option. The reason for this is, as mentioned, Brighton have had that rotation, now secured Europa football. There might be some heavy rotation in that starting 11, and that's why Matoma McAllister out might be a play. Now, replacements for them are actually quite interesting. I think that Eze from Crystal Palace is going to be a popular one, comes in a little bit cheaper, and it's Nottingham Forest at home. Now, Nottingham Forest are safe from relegation, so they're going to be fine. They're going to be quite tired after their game against Arsenal, and Crystal Palace are playing pretty decently at the moment. Eze, for me, absolute baller, love watching him play, would love him in my FPL team. He could be a nice alternative to one of the Brighton mids. But there's another alternative if you guys do want to get in on that Arsenal game, is Wolves at home, probably one of the best fixtures on paper, and Trossard, if you guys can afford this switch, is another alternative. So between Trossard and Eze, it's quite close. I think both of them could get you FPL points, but as mentioned, I do expect Arsenal to play a pretty good game. So with Martelli out injured, Trossard should be starting at left wing, so pretty comfortable selection. Other alternatives though, if you want to go for the same teams, if you guys can afford a Saka, obviously that's a good alternative. A player like an Elise from Crystal Palace, not as explosive as Eze, but still a good alternative. But I generally like these two. But let's just say that all my midfielders do play. Matoma starts, McAllister starts, Alvarez and Haaland both play. I could go quite boring and go for a defensive switch. So the player I'll be transferring out is going to be a Stupinan. The reason for that is I would like some coverage on my bench. I'll probably then start a Stupinan's replacement, bench Trippier, then Trippier can just come off if we do have unexpected benchings. So the player I'll be transferring in for a Stupinan is another Arsenal asset. I just feel like Arsenal's almost a locked-in clean sheet against Wolves, and Gabriel's my selection of choice. But if you guys can predict which of their left back or right back are going to start, they might be more attacking, but Gabriel does love those set pieces. So yes, quite a boring switch, but could result in some F4 points. It's Gabriel from Arsenal. Now the last transfer I want to talk about is going to be for a -4 hit. If we do get news that Alvarez is going to be benched, I want to make a kind of switch, an upgrade in my striker department. Let's just say that I want Gabriel Jesus. So this could be Ollie Watkins, this could be another alternative, a Bobby Firmino, can't really afford a Harry Kane at the current moment, so let's just say that Jesus is my favourite. This will obviously rely on the fact that if Jesus is predicted to start, as most people are saying, as otherwise the hit is a little bit useless. So I really like this game. As I've mentioned, the Arsenal game, one of the ones to target. I feel like they will put out a strong starting 11, and therefore Jesus should start at striker. But obviously I do need some money to actually afford this move, so downgrade that I would then do is going to be Trippier out to probably Tierney. So I know if you are an Arsenal fan, you're probably screaming at me that Tierney might be benched for this fixture. I do know that, but the other replacement is Kiriar. I think I'm pronouncing that right, but he's even cheaper than Tierney, so I've just gone for the left back that might play and might be more attacking. So let's hope that we do get early teamies if we do go for this move that says that Tierney does play. So Trippier down to Tierney is a little bit of a downgrade. I do think that Trippier has the high ceiling, but I guess that Wolves fixture, as I mentioned, is almost a guaranteed clean sheet. But this transfer will be from -4. This will be based on the news that maybe Alvarez is going to be benched, Gabriel Jesus does start, or our mids do start, and Tierney also plays. Now obviously I could do some of the other singular moves from -4, -8 depending on the early team use, but you don't want to take too many hits in the last game week of the season. The reason for that is the time is reduced for those hits to be paid off, so you're literally betting on one game that they do repay those -4 points. But I guess it does make it a little bit easier if those players are benched and the players you're bringing in do start, because like a blank game week, it's then only a -2. But to kind of wrap up our transfer plan, just want to remind you guys about the deadline stream and the early team use. Hopefully we do get some early team use about certain options, as otherwise it's going to be absolute carnage. So hopefully I do see you guys there in the deadline stream, because I think it might be a great one. But this is basically a wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you did and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. As mentioned, shout out to you guys for the continued support throughout the season. I really do appreciate it. But I'm going to sign off. For the last time this season, I've been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.